Hi, I'm Sue Asplin. I am the Photograph Curator at Hokitika Museum, and my job is to look after a really enormous photo collection, and there are quite a few photographs. We've got over 30,000 photographs. We try and digitise as many as we possibly can so that we can make them more available to people. Sometimes people are doing research and it could be research about certain topics, and they're looking for images that show what they're, or maybe it's for writing a book. Sometimes people are researching their family history, and surprisingly amongst our collection we do have quite a few photographs. They're named, and we do have a lot of photographs where they're not named, but it's surprising what you can sometimes find. And sometimes people just want photographs to put on their walls, or they want to use some of our most amazing photographs to enlarge or blow up and put up on their walls. So that type of thing. Yeah. Probably the exciting moments that I have would be when you discover a face. You might have a photograph that you don't know who was in the photograph, and you kind of cross-reference it from another photograph. You find out who that person is, and I start to recognise faces. And there's one particular guy who was around here. He was quite a community person and a businessman here. His name was JJ McIntosh, and he seemed to be quite well known, or quite good friends with a local photographer, Ben Thiem. And so there's a whole series of JJ McIntosh turning up in photos, and I think he must have organised Ben Thiem to be there and take photographs of events and things. And Ben was a really prolific photographer, and he was here from 1906 to about 1936, I think. And we've got a wonderful collection of his photos and glass plate negatives and things. So he you often find that JJ McIntosh turns up in all these photos, and actually curiously Ben Thiem also turns up in some of the photos, because he must have set up the camera and snuck into the photo himself. So like there's a rugby team, and there's Ben Thiem sitting on the edge of the group.
Great.
Well, number 348.
Oh, 348.
Right. So this is the Hokitika port.
You've got it there.
Here it is. This is the scan that was taken from the glass plate negative. However, I really like the zoomed in version of it.
Yeah.
And now this shows, so if you wanted to come a little closer, this is a little jetty that was at the end of Rebel Street. And this is where lots of little boats and ferry boats would go across the river. You can see the Waipara, one of the boats, is here. This is around about it's in the late 1860s, maybe 1870s. You can still see way in here, I can zoom straight in, you can still see that's the original post office that was built on the corner of Gibson Quay and Sewell Street. So that's where the dock building stands today. This here is the site of Mitre 10, just here. So there was a hotel there called the Post Office Hotel, and that burned down in the 1880s, and it took out quite a few businesses next to it. You can see some of the observatory or the fire watch towers around the place, because fire was always a problem in those days.
And all the bush down to the edge.
And you can still see the bush in behind, and look at these trees. Sometimes what photographers did is some of these big dead trees that were left, they looked a bit boring, or they didn't look so great, so the photographers would touch them up and make them look like big fancy trees. I don't think these ones have been touched up, but you can still see there's a few stumps in the background. Now this is when they were, I think this here is either a crane, or it's for, it's not for the building the wharf, but you can see the wharf's not been there for too long. So what I really love is when you zoom in, you can actually see quite a lot of people, and you can see there's a horse and cart down by the post office here, and there's somebody sitting on the thing talking to someone else, and there's a few blurry shadows. I love this photo because it's kind of gritty, and and it just shows what Gibson Quay used to be like when people would get off the boats. They'd probably come off the boats and they'd come up these stairs. There'd be driftwood on each side of them, and this is what they would come to, and this is where the wharf carried on to Sunset Point. So the end of River Street's just there, but this is what they would have seen. It's just amazing, and it's, you know, muddy streets, busy wharf, and a town that's been built in a swamp, and you can tell because of the surrounding bush.
Sue, thanks for sharing that with us and for showing us what you do as a photo curator at the Hokitika Museum.